Farm Week is a production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, we have a special feature story edition of our show. We'll go to Iowa, where the familiar struggle of farming versus economic development is taking place. The owners of the Field of Dreams from the 1989 baseball movie want to build a baseball theme park. Their farmer neighbors aren't convinced.
In Southern Gardening, Garden Center Tips, Gary Bachman shows us how to take home some of the techniques the professionals use.
Our first story today comes to us from Meridian, Mississippi. See how Mississippi's forest industry banded together with Habitat for Humanity to build a home according to the Sustainable Forestry Initiative.
At this particular project, one of the greatest of those is, the philanthropical spirit that goes along with the project itself, but also it's very educational to the entire community to see that not only can you build a house with SFI certified wood, but that's something that can happen right here in Mississippi with quality professionals all the way from the point of harvest where we are today, all the way through the manufacturing as we see all the way up into the house.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Artis Ford. Welcome to Farm Week.
Today, it's a feature story version of our show.
Leighton, our first story takes us to Meridian, Mississippi, where a Habitat for Humanity home is nearing completion. It's sponsored by many of the various companies that make up Mississippi's forest industry. The home will also receive certification under the Green Building Standard of the National Home Builders Association. The home is being built with wood grown and harvested according to the guidelines of the National Sustainable Forestry Initiative. The partnership of Habitat Humanity and Mississippi Forest Industry has been described by some as a perfect fit.
I am so excited. So I can't hardly stand myself today, but I know God is in charge and it'll be so much better now. I'm so happy now, but then when it's completely done, I don't know how I'm going to act now because I'm just so excited now, just by being partially built.
Joanne Davis and her husband, Willie Davis Jr., are anticipating the day when they will own their own home for the first time. The Davis house is the 70th to be constructed by the Lauderdale County Habitat for Humanity affiliate. These particular volunteers work for companies which have helped many people to build homes. Mississippi's forest industry. The Davis home is sponsored by the State Implementation Committee for the Sustainable Forestry Initiative. The SIC is made up of representatives of Mississippi's forest industry.
It's one of these things where it's not only an opportunity to give back to those communities where we operate, and to give back and help those that are in need, but it gives a chance to, highlight the Sustainable Forestry Initiative that our company has been behind for many years.
The State Implementation Committee is made up of public entities and private businesses which promote and guide the Sustainable Forestry Initiative in Mississippi. SFI is a voluntary national program which promotes sustainable forestry growth with landowners, loggers, and forest industry. Its 14 core principles seek to keep forestry sustainable while protecting water quality, biodiversity, wildlife habitat, and at-risk species. The Mississippi State Implementation Committee funds training in the Sustainable Forestry Initiative for loggers, forestry consultants, and landowners. When the idea for funding a habitat house was brought to the SIC, the conversation turned quickly from whether to do it, but how to do it.
Let's start from the bottom, from the beginning. Cutting the trees, following those, and really show the people what impact the SIC and the SFI has in the community as far as jobs, and follow the chain of command. I mean, the chain from where it starts to where it ends. And that's exactly why we got involved.
At this particular project, one of the greatest of those is, the philanthropical spirit that goes along with the project itself, but also it's very educational to the entire community to see that not only can you build a house with SFI certified wood, but that's something that can happen right here in Mississippi with quality professionals all the way from the point of harvest where we are today, all the way through the manufacturing as we see all the way up into the house.
The sustainable cycle of modern forestry has been illustrated in the wood products donated to the Habitat home. This particular load of logs was harvested off Plum Creek Timber Company land, which had been managed according to best management practices and the Sustainable Forestry Initiative. The trees were harvested by a logging company which had been trained as well in SFI and BMPs.
It teaches the loggers how to do their BMP work, our best management practices, and as you said, your SMZs where you cross in streams and creeks. It teaches them how to do this with the least amount of impact.
The harvested trees were then taken to Weyerhaeuser's lumber mill at Philadelphia, Mississippi, where they were sawn into lumber.
We do a lot of wood products out of here, the Dimension Mill here in Philadelphia, and they end up in the houses, whether in trusses or in the framing of the house. So we're more than happy to be part of this and to do our part in this Habitat for Humanity house.
The Weyerhaeuser sawn lumber was then transported to Clearspan Components of Meridian, Mississippi. Clearspan is a manufacturer of custom-engineered building components. It turned the lumber into wall panels, roof trusses, and floor trusses for the Habitat house. Clearspan cooperated in documenting the chain of custody needed to maintain SFI certification for the Habitat house.
We're very appreciative of the Campbell Group, but they invited us because of our involvement with the local Habitat group. And basically, we can be a part of the tracking from the forest all the way down to the local house that's being put in.
Norboard, Mississippi's Guntown Mill provided SFI certified oriented strand board for the Meridian Habitat house. Norboard's Martin Faulkner says SFI has resulted in more trees being planted than are being cut in Mississippi.
All the data shows that we actually have more timbered acres in the state of Mississippi now than we've had in over 100 years, and we're actually growing more timber than we're harvesting now.
Fonda Rush, director for Lauderdale County's Habitat for Humanity, says the timing was right when SFI's State Implementation Committee approached Habitat about building a home using SFI certified wood.
And we were already sort of doing Energy Star homes and just not asking for certification. But on this, we decided on our next house, we totally wanted to go to green and become a certified green home using the National Home Builder Standards for green building. So it all just began to work out really well because SFI is recognized by the National Home Builders Association standards.
Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit ecumenical Christian ministry founded on the conviction that every man, woman, and child should have a decent, safe, and affordable place to live. Rush says the biggest misconception about Habitat is that the homes are simply given to their new owners. Habitat home sponsors donate money and Habitat raises other funds, but the new homeowners pay for their homes, helping provide funds for future construction.
So it's an interest-free mortgage, and we sell it for what it cost us basically to build the houses. So the families do have to have income and coming in, such as a job or disability.
Habitat homeowners are also required to work on their homes, putting in so-called sweat equity. Volunteers have come from many places as well. The SIC and Mississippi's forestry-related companies like the Campbell Group in Meridian have held work days being blessed as they help to bless the Davises. Landscape help is being provided by the Mississippi State University Extension Service Master Gardener Program in Lauderdale County.
The day I get the keys, I think about that a lot. I know right then the home is finished. I'll be a homeowner. I can set myself, set my goals to live and go ahead on in life and keep on going.
Well, you can watch this story again on our Farm Week website. That's farmweek.msucares.com. You can also find our Farm Week stories on YouTube and Facebook. We'll also have some links and information on the Sustainable Forestry Initiative in Lauderdale County's Habitat for Humanity. We'll have a link to the National Habitat for Humanity site as well, in case you want to try to find a Habitat affiliate near you. That's farmweek.msucares.com.
It's time now for today's trivia quiz on Farm Week. It's about where the United States ranks in world corn production. What is the percentage of the world's corn grown in the U.S.? Is the answer 25%, 33%, 40%, or 65%? We have the answer right after today's Southern Gardening segments. There are a lot of things you can do at the Garden Center to make your gardening job at home much more successful. In this week's first Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman gives us some Garden Center tips for success.
I really enjoy visiting the Garden Center and imagining where all the gorgeous plants will fit into my landscape. Today I'm at Busy Bee Nursery to share some of my Garden Center tips. A question I often get is, what are good plant combinations? Visiting the Garden Center can provide the opportunity to practice plant combinations. When shopping for container-grown plants, be sure to take a look at the root system. Gently remove the container. Healthy roots are a bright white color. This will also let you know if the plant is root-bound, which is something you want to avoid. Always buy bigger sized plants. These will fill an area quicker than smaller plants, and you will need fewer plants for a given area. I'm often amazed at the new plants displayed each year. I read once that many flowering plants we use in our landscapes are really only 1 or 2 steps out of the ditch. This is especially true for some of the new plants found at the Garden Center. Purslane is one of the newer plants that has been of interest to me and has long been regarded by many as a weed, but it can be a nice addition to your landscape. This plant has succulent growth with summer-loving qualities that make the improved selections perfect for the landscape or for the summer hanging basket. So go visit your local garden center this weekend and discover some new plants for your landscape. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Our second Southern Gardening segment today concerns selection. Gardening is a lot easier if you select plants that are suited to your landscape. Gary Bachman shows us some solid gardening selections.
A lot of people admire pretty garden beds from a distance, but may not have the confidence to try it themselves. One of the big secrets to success is simply selecting the right plants to grow. My friend Tim has never had a garden, but his interest in gardening grew from watching our Southern Gardening TV segments. In fact, last winter, we did a Southern Gardening feature from Tim's house on how to install a landscape bed. Well, look at how this landscape bed has grown. Tim has used a combination of colorful flowers and pretty foliage to produce an eye-popping bed. The front of the bed features New Look celosia. These easy-to-grow plants have showy bright red plumes and attractive burgundy foliage, and they will thrive throughout the hot summer growing season. Currently, the real showstoppers are the Irish Eyes Rudbeckia. These tall perennials produce an abundance of golden yellow flowers having bright green center cones. These beautiful flowers